Hey everybody, Joe Joseph here for thedailysheeple.com, and this is your news shot. The economic collapse blog. I haven't gone to Michael Snyder's site in quite some time, but man, he nailed it when he said the globalists are systematically destroying America's middle class. It most certainly is. I mean, the transfer of wealth out of the middle class to the uber elite is just accelerating and accelerating. We've had stagnant wage growth in, over the last 20 years. It's been really awful. He says when people are dependent on the government, they're much easier to control. We are often told that we're not compassionate when we object to the endless expansion of government social programs. But that's how this debate should be framed. In America today, well, over 100 million, think about this. This is staggering. Over 100 million people receive money from the federal government each month. Okay, there's 330-something million people. So close to 30% of people in the United States get some sort of check from the U.S. government. And the number of Americans that are truly financial independent is continuing to shrink. In fact, only 25% of all Americans have more than $10,000 in savings right now, according to one survey. I know to a lot of people out there, including myself, that's a lot of money, and people don't have those resources anymore. Now it takes two incomes just to live what used to be a standard middle-class lifestyle. It's not the way it used to be. And we need to come to grips with this, that's the reality. That's the reality, and so here we are with the globalist blueprint, the globalist control. It doesn't work. More people are dependent on the government now than ever before. And it makes it a lot less likely that people are going to stand up and fight for their rights to restore any sort of semblance of what this republic was, because if they do, they fear that that government check just isn't going to come anymore. And he writes, back in 1992, the bottom 90% of American income earners brought in more than 60% of the country's income. But last year, that figure slipped to 49.7%. The wealthiest of our society is increasingly becoming concentrated at the very top, and the middle class is steadily being eroded. Surveys found somewhere around 2/3 of the country is living paycheck to paycheck at least part of the time. And so living on the edge has become a way of life for most Americans. Now, Business Insider wrote an article that was bemoaning this fact, that the U.S. economy seems to be rather directionless. They highlighted some points. They said that we don't have a real plan for health care, and of course, costs continue to gobble up more and more of American wages. If you take a look at the premium increases over the last 10 years, it's staggering, to the point now where Canada has a single payer system, and say what you will about single payer, fact is it costs a lot of money. But when you factor in what the American people already pay in premiums, deducted from their employer-provided health care, or even through the Obamacare exchange, what ends up happening is we're only about 4 to 5% off what Canadians pay in taxes when you bring all that together. And they don't have to pay for medical, dental, I can't remember if it's, eye care, and I even think some schooling is covered. And that's the thing, is just what are we getting for what we're paying into the system? And it doesn't necessarily have to be government. We're paying all this money to healthcare providers, but what are we getting in return? And what we're finding is over the course of time, cost is going up, but the quality of care is going down, down, down. And in a society, or in a, let's just say a free market society, if the quality of a service or a product goes down, typically people won't pay for it and they'll go find an alternative. Only now you can't, because this is government sanctioned. It's a government sanctioned oligarchy. You know, it's not a monopoly. Not one person owns it, but it's very close. It's almost like the mainstream media. You've got 6 corporations that control the entire mainstream media. How can you expect to get any sort of real justice, real news, real accountability from mainstream media that's run by 6 people? You can't. Same thing with healthcare. When you only have 6 choices available to you, in some exchanges, you only have 1 choice. Hell, some exchanges, there are no choices. Then what do you expect? You're not going to get the quality of care because they're the only game in town. Or perhaps there's only 6 of them. And all they've got to do is be slightly better than the next. Sometimes they don't even have to be that. Sometimes they just got to come in a couple bucks cheaper. You know, people these days will wait in line at a gas pump a half an hour to save 10 cents a gallon. When in reality, on a 20-gallon tank, how much are you saving? $2? So your half an hour sitting in line is worth $2. You see what I'm saying? People will go ahead and they may save $10 a month on a far inferior health care plan, but they'll go with it because it's $10 a month cheaper. You know, these things are all things that you consider. Plus, you couple the government control and the ratcheting down on doctors, and that makes it even worse. So, absolutely, the middle class is being destroyed. Wages are stagnant, and the type of jobs that are being thrown out there just aren't what they used to be. They don't make as much. And why? Because employers don't have to pay much. They just don't have to anymore. So until we right the ship in that regard, nothing's going to change, and we're going to continue to see this society go down the tubes. I'm Joe Joseph. This was thedailysheeple.com's News Shot. Feel free to comment below and visit our website at thedailysheeple.com. Have a great day, everybody.